Hi guys, if you can hear me, say hey. It's Claire here from Brave. We've got an hour of power yoga today. I just wanted to make a quick announcement before the class because we have some guests with us today. So we have an exciting collaboration with Immortal Fitness in Thornbury with a friend of mine, Byron, who's the owner and personal trainer there. So we're going to be having a couple of his classes on the schedule as Zoom classes with a swap with his members to come to some of our classes, which is exciting. So yeah, you'll hear more about that. We'll send you an email tomorrow. And I also wanted to just set the scene for the class today that we'll be focusing on a yogic methodology called, I'm going to say it wrong, aparigraha, which is a Sanskrit word which basically means non-possessiveness or greed or attachment, I guess. You hear in yoga a lot about the non-attachment methodology. And so today I'm going to be talking about that. And it's not necessarily always what you think. So non-greed can be, obsession or fixation on money or on food or on stuff like success or things, or even on grief or on feelings of not being good enough or that things are harder for you than anybody else. All of these things are a form of attachment, which is what we're going to work on in today's class. So if you're following us on Spotify, we'll be playing number 9, which is Flowing Brave 1 hour. So we'll hold off playing just for a second because I'm going to start off with some yoga breathing. If you have a block, I'd recommend if you're doing my classes to have a yoga block and some extra padding for your knee. If you don't have anything like this, you can use a bag of rice or a lunchbox or a Tupperware container or a pillow. Maybe a pillow for this one because sitting on a Tupperware container mightn't be very comfortable. I'm placing a block underneath my glutes. This is called Hero's Pose, and we're going to take a few breaths here just to slow down. I've just done a fitness class right before this one, so my heart rate's really going. We're going to take a big breath in. And exhale, release. We're starting with a yoga breath called kapalabhati or fire breath. Those of you who have been doing this over the last couple of classes are going to know what this is, but for the newbies, I will explain it to you. So it's a pumping of the belly and it creates heat in the body. It also helps you with detoxification and also is a bit of an ab workout. So we're going to be forcibly exhaling the air through the mouth. If you're more advanced and been doing it for a while, you can do it through the nose, but we'll start through the mouth. So it looks like this. You're going to inhale through the nose and then through the mouth and push the belly in. So we're pumping the belly out and in, okay? We'd have 30 and then we're going to hold out the exhale and take a big breath in. Don't worry, I'm going to guide you. Hands can be resting on the thighs or on your hips. Take a big breath in to prepare. And we go. Exhale all the air. Hold. Take a big breath in. Hold on the inhale and relax everything down. You might feel a little tingly. You might feel nothing at all. In these new breath work, it might be challenging or feel okay. It's always different. Exhale, releasing any air that's left. One more set. Big breath in. We're pumping that belly. Remember, forcibly exhaling and then allowing an inhale. So ready? Breath in. Exhale. Exhale everything you have. Maybe hold out on the exhale. When you can't hold anymore, big breath in And hold on the inhale, let everything be soft. Relax the shoulders, relax the eyes, be still. Observe the body. When you can't hold anymore on that inhale, release. Removing that block from underneath you, press play on your playlist. Come down onto your backs. So let's turn that down a little bit. First one, we'll have our shins parallel to the floor, flex the toes, hands on the thighs, push the hands into the thighs and then pull the thighs into the hands. Now, if your lower back is lifted, I want you to push the lower back into the floor. So the more that you push against your thighs and pull against your hands, the more active this is going to be. So if you're taking it pretty soft, you're going to really a soft engagement and the lower back is not going to push much into the mat. But see if you can really push the lower back into the floor and push the hands and thighs in together. We'll hold for a couple more breaths. The more that you're shaking, the better that is. This is also realigning through the pelvis and activating and ensuring that your lower back is on the floor is really key here. Now, placing the right hand on your left quad, pushing hard, and then extending through that right leg. So the heel can be going towards the floor or a point if that feels better, but just make sure that lower back doesn't lift. So push that lower back into the floor. Now listen carefully. This next bit is a little challenging. Imagine someone's pushing against that right quad as you pull it up against an imaginary force and bringing it back to center. You should start to shake. It should be really hard. If it's not hard, you get to try it on the other side. So left hand goes onto the right thigh, push the hand into the leg and the leg into the hand, straighten through the left leg. The foot can be flexed or pointed, whatever feels better. Now, as you exhale, imagine there's something forcibly pushing against that left leg and stopping it from coming back. Imagine your obliques starting to work. You will start to shake. Bring the left knee in towards the center. Now, if it's not feeling hard, you're probably not doing it right. So let's do it one more time each side and see if you can get it. Right hand into the left quad. That right leg is going straight. Breath in. And as we exhale, imagine something pushing. Push your obliques, squeeze the legs, activate through the legs. Imagine something's pulling and pushing against that thigh. Bring it back to center. Beautiful. Did you feel it? Other side. Left hand onto right thigh. Breath in, straighten through left leg. Breath out, start to come in. Imagine that force pushing against your leg. Your leg is shaking with that tension, even my voice. And breathe in and exhale, feet to the floor. And windscreen wipe the knees from side to side. Nice job. Hands behind neck and head. We'll take a couple of cycles. So elbows up towards the roof. Exhale both elbows to left knee, straighten right leg. Inhale back to center. Exhale both elbows to right knee, straighten left leg. Try and lift those shoulders up off the floor. Inhale back to center. Exhale to left. Inhale to center, lift the shoulders up. Exhale to right. Inhale to center. Bring the head and neck down. Bring the feet down. Maybe bring the knees into chest. A gentle move from side to side to massage the sacrum. Rock forward and back to bring you onto your hands and knees. And we'll start in a dolphin pose. So hands are on the floor. Grab your biceps. This is how we know we're in the right position. And then from here, tuck the toes and start to straighten your legs. So for those that are new to yoga or this class, you might have your knees bent and your feet a bit further back. For those of you who've been doing yoga for a while, you might be able to move your feet closer in towards your body and straighten your legs. This is obviously harder. What's natural is you're going to want to face plant into the mat. I want you to push from the floor. Activate through your hands, spread your fingers wide. Look towards your feet, relax your neck and head. Option to stay here. Or we're going to lift that right leg up, raise it up to the roof. We have 5 of these. Inhale down. Exhale, rise. Inhale down. Exhale, rise. Flex that foot. Use those glutes. Inhale down. I'm sorry to those of you who just did my Brave Sculpt class. And inhale down.
One more. And down. Option to come into child's pose if this is a little much for you, or you can stay where you are, keep holding. Left side this time. We lift that left leg up, inhale down. 5 of these, exhale, inhale. Power yoga is hard, see? And down. 2 more, 1 and 2. Lower the knees, little child's pose. Release the head onto the floor. Little movement of the shoulders. Gently push up onto your hands. Spread your fingers wide. Have them quite wide on the mat. Untuck the toes and push up to your first downward facing dog. Inhale, come up onto tippy toes. And exhale, push down through heels. Now, when you start off at yoga, it is fine to have the knees bent and have the back straight and have the heels off the floor. I've been doing yoga for a while, and I find when you start yoga, you think that you have to have straight legs, but that is not true. So you can have the knees bent and get that weight back into your legs so that you give your wrists a bit of a break. Look between your hands. Option to step or to jump forward between the hands. Inhale to a flat back and exhale to fold. Breath in, bend through the knees, roll up, hands come through heart center, reach tall, breath in, breath out, hands to heart. Now, remembering through the class, if you can catch yourself having any attachment to certain poses or expectations of yourself, being hard on yourself, any of those things that we can relate back to that form of non-attachment. Breath in, hands up the sky. Breath out, hands to floor. Breath in halfway, so nice flat back. Exhale, hands down. Option to step or to jump back into your high plank. So high plank, you can always come down on your knees, that's absolutely fine. Or you can stay in a high plank for your chaturanga. So for your first ones, especially because there's some new people here, coming onto knees, bring your chest forward, bend your elbows, but bring them in like a tricep push-up. Slowly come down to the floor with control. Breath in, we come up to baby cobra. Maybe lift the hands and lift the feet. Activate the glutes, but neck is long, so chin to chest. Exhale, hands to floor, tuck the toes, push up and back, downward facing dog. Pedaling out the legs, taking a breath. Now, if you do have some padding for your knees, I recommend that you take that now because we need to look after our knees, and I definitely try to look after mine. So we're going to be doing some kneel backs, so make sure your knees are padded for that. Inhale into chair. So we're going to sit down like an imaginary chair behind us, hands up, wrap the shoulders, pinky slightly in towards each other, tilt the tailbone down, come a little deeper. Exhale, hands to floor. Step back with the right leg, place the knee on the floor, and inhale to come up into a lunge. So we're not lunging up here at the top of the leg, we're actually hinging forward. So this is more of a passive stretch, and hands up. So we're getting through all the hip flexors here, coming into flexibility. If you're super flexible and you want strength, you can come back a little bit and lift up. Exhale, hands to floor, untuck the back toe, step back, high plank down to low plank is your chaturanga. And inhale to up dog. Roll the shoulders back, thighs can be resting on the floor or lifting if you squeeze and activate. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, left knee lowers onto a pad like mine is good. Inhale to open the chest and rise. Exhale to sink a little lower, let the hips sink forward. Feel the stretch through the front of the hip flexor. One more breath. Exhale, hands down, untuck back toes, straighten the legs, step back and flow. So a flow is a high to low plank, an inhale to up dog, and an exhale to downward facing dog. Look between the hands, step or jump forward, sweep hands behind you, come up into chair. Exhale, hands down, step back with left leg. Inhale, rise up into deep lunge. We're doing dragon hands, so dragon fingers clench, and exhale. We're exhaling out through the mouth. So for Indian, those of you at home, you can stick out your tongue and make it like a dragon if you want. Exhale, hands to floor. Step back into plank, high to low. Breath in to come up, and breath out to downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, right knee lowers. Breath in, rise. Exhale, dragon. Really clench through the fingers and open through the chest. Exhale, hands to floor. Untuck back toe, step back and flow. High to low plank. Inhale to come up, roll those shoulders back, squeeze the glutes. And exhale, push through heels, downward facing dog. Look between the hands, step or jump forward, sweep hands behind you, chair pose. Come deep into your legs, tilt your tailbone, come into the heels, so much so that the toes lift. Exhale, hands to floor, right leg steps back, lowers down, breath in, dragon. Exhale, let those hips sink forward. Option to reach behind you and grab your foot, gently bringing in that bat foot towards the glute. Now, this is quite intense, so if this is your first class or you're new to yoga, maybe skip this one out. Gently let that back foot drop, untuck the back toe, step back and flow. High to low, breath out. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg steps forward, left knee drops. Breath in, reach high. Exhale, dragon. Let those hips sink forward. Option for those of you who want to take it, reach behind you, maybe grab the foot, bringing it in towards the butt. Again, it's quite intense on the quad and also the knee, so definitely recommend padding up the knee and only doing this one if you feel like your body likes it. Exhale, bring the hands down, step back and flow, high to low plank or your chaturanga. Breath in to come into up dog, breath out, downward facing dog. Pedaling out through legs, fingers spread wide, wrapping those shoulder blades around the armpits, relaxing neck and head. So a little shake of the head can help you relax, or making space between the teeth to relax the jaw. If you had that padding under the knees, you can move that out of the way. Inhale, that right leg raises up. Exhale, bend the knee. So bringing that right foot in towards the right glute, and then take the knee further up towards the roof. Now your option is to stay here, especially if you're new to yoga in my class. Otherwise, you can start to open the hip and maybe come into flip dog. So we're flipping over onto our back, stacking our knees and our ankles and reaching over our head. Now it's good to also stack your shoulder and your wrist. So stacked bones are happy bones. In yoga, you don't want to put too much stress on the shoulders. Exhale, come back, reach up, three-legged dog, meeting everyone back here if you didn't take that last option. Exhale, knee to nose, bringing that knee tight under the body, lifting, protracting through shoulders. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, underneath the body towards left elbow. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to nose towards right. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, sweep that foot between the hands. We're doing something fun here. Are you ready? That right shoulder is going to imagine like it wants to go under the right knee. I'll do it here for those of you who've seen this for the first time. So I'm imagining that my right shoulder is getting underneath my right knee. It's getting into my hips. Now there's a few options you can take here. One option is to straighten out the arms and start to fly. You can have a play with that one. Or if you are coming into an arm balance, if you've been with me for a while, you can start to bend the elbows and come into scissors for those of you who've been here for a little while. Otherwise, working on opening, just getting that shoulder under the right knee and pushing through that back heel towards the back of the mat. Either option is intense. Placing your hands around your front foot, getting ready to come up for a crescent lunge or a lunge pose. Breath in, rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, dragon hands. Inhale, lift up onto your ball of your foot, so we're lifting the heel. Exhale, lower the foot down Hands to heart. Inhale to reach tall and forward, and exhale to twist over towards the right. So we're hooking our elbow around the outside of the thigh, hands to prayer, and opening the chest. Relax the neck and head, you don't have to look up. If it's too much for the hands, you can come into two fists, so there's less extension in the wrist. If you have a bind here, you can take it. If you don't know what that is, then stay where you are. One more breath. Inhale, open up into warrior two. So with warrior two, our front heel's in line with the instep of our back foot. Come deep into that front knee, knee stacked over ankle, pushing down through the blade edge of the back foot, gaze to front middle finger. Stay here for the exhale. Hands behind you and clasp, straighten your arms to open your chest, lift the hands off the glutes, humble warrior. We come down in between the legs, bringing that right shoulder on the inside of the right thigh and encouraging it to open as you fold forward with the hands coming over the head. Staying deep in that front knee and bringing the hips down towards the floor will make this easier. If your shoulders are not very happy, then you don't have to have the hands bound and you can just place them underneath your face. One more breath. I know it's a challenge. Releasing the hands, rising up with your strength, coming back to warrior two, deep into the legs. Breath in. Exhale, extended side angle. So we're resting for the first option, resting the elbow on the quad. Second option, more flexibility, reaching towards the floor. It's natural to want to dump into the floor. I want you to lift so you're just hovering off the ground. Those of you who've been with me for a while, half bind, reach behind you, or full bind underneath, clasping the hands behind the back. Coming into your bird of paradise for those who practice with me often, coming up and maybe straightening the leg. If this is too much, just stay in the extended side angle and work on opening the chest, coming into a half bind. If you came to bird of paradise, step back into your extended side angle bind. Hands frame the front foot, step back and flow. High to low plank. Breath in to come up. Roll those shoulders back and breath out, downward facing dog. Pedal out through the legs. You ready for the other side? Inhale, reach the left leg up this time. Bend the knee, take that foot towards the left glute, and then open the hip towards the side of the room. What often happens here is people then will twist into the shoulders. So I want your shoulders to stay even, but the hip to open. Keep your heel towards your glutes. Keep looking down towards your toes to get long through the neck. Option to flip into a flip dog, stacking joints, reaching overhead, coming into back bend. When you've had enough of this one, come back into meet the others in a three-legged dog, lifting that left foot high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale to rise up. Exhale, knee to right elbow, cross under the body. Inhale to rise. Exhale, knee to left elbow, just a tap, and inhale to rise. Exhale, sweep between the hands. This is your fun option. You can take any of these options that feels okay. Please don't feel intimidated by some of the arm balances. This is your first class. You are not expected to do that today. So your options are getting that left shoulder underneath that left knee as much as you can and just work on opening the hips. That's option one. Option two, you can spread your hands out. See if you can fly a little bit. Option three, if you want to come into the arm balance, hands on the floor wide, make those little bend your shoulders to make a little ledge, and then you can start to come up into your scissors. Whichever option you chose, we'll come back into just an opener. So trying to get that left shoulder under the left knee. This is going to open through the hips. So push through that back heel, have the hips low, don't have the glutes high. You want to get into the hip flexors here. One more breath. Take that hand out. Get ready to come up into a lunge. Inhale, lengthen through chest. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Exhale into dragon. Rise that front heel just onto the ball of the foot. Lower down, breath out. Breath in, lengthen through chest. Exhale, hook around and twist to the left. So option a hands at prayer, or two fists, or one fist on top of the other. Whatever feels good. If you're working on your twists, the more of a twist you can get through the core to the side, the more likely you are to be able to bind the hands eventually if that is your goal. Relax neck and head. Let the chin gently draw in. Release any tension in the jaw. One more exhale. Then breath in, start to rise up. Exhale, warrior two. Check that alignment, front heel in line with the instep of the back foot. Get deep into the thighs. This is an opening of the hips. Gaze towards front middle finger. Relax the shoulders. See if there's any expectation or there's been any greediness in your practice today, whether it's self-sabotage or negative self-talk. It's all the same root. Hands behind you, straighten through the arms, lift the hands off the glutes. Exhale, lean forward, humble warrior. Maybe bringing that left shoulder close towards the left knee and gently encouraging the hips to open. Lower the hips down. So you can get the hips even more between those ankles. That's eventually the direction that you're going, and head towards the floor. If it feels too much, just release the hands under your face and hold your weight with your hands. One more breath, exhale. I know it's challenging. And then breath out. We come up with strength. Exhale back into warrior two. Breath in to prepare, and exhale, extended side angle. Resting left elbow on left quad, reaching high with the top hand. That's your option one. Option two, bringing the hand to the floor, working on opening the hips. And option three, if you want to start with opening the shoulder, reach your hand behind you for half bind so you can grab the quad. Or if you're coming into full bind and you've been with me for a while, you can reach behind you and bind the hands behind, opening that right shoulder towards the roof. Coming into bird of paradise, stepping forward, up onto the tippy toe, rising up. Challenge to straighten the leg. Staying in extended side angle. If this is where you're at today, and this might be a bit of a challenge for those, especially first classes, so well done. Coming down into your extended side angle, hands frame the front foot. Step back and flow, high to low plank. Breath in to come up, roll shoulders back, squeeze the booty, make sure it's engaged. And exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a drink of water if you need it, or a child's pose. If this has been a bit intense, you can take your option. Just don't start eating dinner yet. Not allowed. Bad yogi. Pedaling out through the legs. Look between the hands, bend the knees. Step or jump forward and sweep hands behind you, coming up into chair, sit low in the thighs. So with our chair pose, this version, we have our feet together, squeeze our thighs together, and we're tilting our tailbone towards the floor, activating the glutes and leaning into the heels. Eagle pose, we lift the right leg over the top of the left and we hook it around. Do it this way so you can see me better. And then the right arm under. So right leg over, right arm under. If you're new and this is too much, the foot can be just touching the floor to support you, or the foot can just be hanging out to the side. It doesn't have to wrap around today. And with your shoulders, if your shoulders aren't binding, you can just bring the forearms together. Lift the shoulders off the chest though, bring them towards me and squeeze them together. One more breath. Inhale, rise up into stag. Keep the hands in your eagle, I cheated, and sweep behind you for your warrior three with eagle hands. So you want to have your back leg straight and the foot flexed. Gaze towards the floor, control with that right glute. Bend the left knee, get back as much as you can through the left foot to come it down slowly into a lunge. Inhale to rise up, crescent lunge with eagle arms. Maybe a little back bend if that feels good. And exhale, back to center. You survived, well done. And exhale, warrior two, lower that back heel. Swap sides so you can see me. And eagle arms. Coming into a pose called ostrich. We're reaching forward through the hands and tilting from the hips, bringing the hands straight down towards the floor. When you first do this, it feels horrible. So my advice is bend deep through that front knee. Keep the hips moving towards between your heels rather than the glutes going out to the back towards the mat. Relax your neck and head. Stay deep into the thighs. Stay for the exhale. You're doing great. I'm proud of you. Releasing the hands onto the floor. Left hand goes to the inside of the left leg and the right hand walks towards that right foot. We're going to straighten through the left arm and push through so you're getting this traction through the spine and also opening on the inside of the thigh. My right leg is straight. Maybe you need to have a little bend and then straighten if it gets a little bit too heated in your front quad. Hands come down into the middle of the mat, bend through the knees to roll up. Exhale, warrior two. Moving into half moon. Look in front of you. A tall block is really helpful, especially for people starting with yoga. Take a block with you. And we're going to place the block just in front of your foot and reach open to your half moon. So half moon, you're flexing your back foot. You're actually opening the hips. Your right glute is lifting your leg and the right hand high. Now your challenge is you can come off the block and just use your core. You can come into quarter moon, which is reaching behind you, grabbing the foot, coming into a bind and a bit of a back bend. Or you can just stay where you are, because this is also really hard. One more breath. And exhale, release. Bringing the leg down, folding forward, grabbing those shoulders and a rock from side to side. I like to have my legs wide so I feel nice and secure, like I'm not going to fall over. Step your feet together, sweep hands behind you, breath in. Exhale, come into chair. Tilt your tailbone, get low into the legs, squeeze the thighs. Eagle, so we lift the left leg over and the left arm under. It's kind of like the hokey pokey. Squeeze the elbows together to create traction and tension in the shoulders so you're not just hanging out in your joints. Squeeze your legs together, come deeper into the legs. Option to rest that foot onto the floor or just out to the side. See if you can hold and find that point of focus or that drishti. That's a focal point that isn't moving, that you can help you focus. Inhale, raise up into stag, keep the hands in eagle, and then exhale, sweep behind you for warrior three, eagle arms. Flex the back toe. So you want to make sure that this leg is actually towards the floor, the hips are towards the floor, and you're extending through that back leg. Challenge, bend through that right knee, reach through the left leg towards the back of the mat to gently step back into a lunge with control. Inhale, rise into lunge, maybe a little back bend. And exhale, hands come back to center. Open the hips so the back heel drops. Warrior two pose, hands stay in eagle. We're going back to that fun pose, ostrich. Gently come down towards the floor. Again, keeping the nice and low in the hips is going to help you. When I first started this one, I was trying to bend while having my glutes really far back and it was quite challenging. So bend more into that front knee and see if it helps you. Relax the neck and head, so chin towards chest. Keep breathing. It'll get the heart racing. You're working in the legs. Your head is below your heart. There's a lot of things that are challenging in this pose. You're stretching, you're activating. One last breath. Release the hands underneath your face. Walk your left hand towards your left foot and right hand on the inside of your right leg, and then straighten through that right arm. So what we're getting here is an opening through your hips on the right, and also straightening through that back. It's getting a stretch through the back as well. Let the neck and head be soft. Last breath. Gently bring the hands underneath your face. Bend your knees to come up. Exhale into warrior two. Gaze to the front middle finger. You know what's coming, right? We're coming into half moon. Look in front of your front foot. You can have a block if that is helpful. And then rise up. And that you want to make sure that the hips are actually opening here. So the hip is not closed towards the floor. It's actually rotated open to the side of the room. That top hand is raised. Flex the foot towards your shin on the back leg. Use that right glute to bring it up. Your foot and your head should be in one line. If you want to make it harder, get rid of the block or raise up, or quarter moon, grabbing the back foot, coming into a little back bend. Last exhale, and coming out of any pose that you took, fold forward, grab those shoulders, feet are wide, bend the knees, let your head be heavy, and have a gentle rock. Guess what? You made through the hard part of the class. Well done. If you're still here, you made it. Now we get into the juicy stretching. Step back into a plank pose and move down from high to low. You can lower the knees to the floor if you wish. Inhale to come up, open the chest. And exhale, downward facing dog. Option for child's pose, or to take a little break, have a drink of water if you need. And come back to meet us in downward facing dog when you're ready. For everyone else, just take a few breaths. A gentle nod or shake of the head to release the neck. And take that attention back to the simplest thing of life, that breath. Inhale, the right leg raises up. And exhale, the knee towards the left elbow. Straighten the leg underneath you. You've got a couple of different options here. If you have space, you can come with me for one version. If you don't have space, you can bend the knee and try and lift the foot up as a challenge. If you do have space, you're going to bring the hips down towards the floor. Make sure that your foot and your hip are in one line and you're feeling that stretch through the side of the leg. If it's too much on your hands, come onto your elbows. Inhale to raise the hips up a little and exhale to let them drop down. So if you're not doing this version, you can bend the knee and just practice with lifting that foot, which is really hard on itself. Inhale to come up and exhale to lower the hip. Oh my gosh. One more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. We'll gently rise back up to our three-legged dog, extending high towards the roof. Sweep that foot between the hands. Coming into warrior two legs, but we'll place that right hand underneath our leg on the outside of our right foot. So you can get that shoulder towards the inside of the right knee. Doesn't have to be right the way underneath there, but just in that direction. And then from here, look towards your hips. So see if you can bring your hips forward so they come more between the feet. Reach the top left hand up and then over your head. If you feel any tension or something uncomfortable in that shoulder on the right, you can just bring it onto the inside of the foot. So this is the challenge. But the most important is to try and bring those hips closer in between the heels. This will really start to open in the hips. Hands come down to frame the front foot, step back and flow. High to low plank, option for knees on floor. Breath in, upward facing dog. And breath out, downward facing dog. Pedal through knees. Inhale, left leg raises up. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. You take your option here, straighten the leg underneath you. If you have the space, you can come into the opener. Otherwise, you're going to bend the knee and just lift the foot off the floor and practice strength. If you're coming into flexibility, straighten the leg. That foot and the hip are in one line. Lower the glutes down towards the floor and raise up. Exhale. If it's too much for those hands, come onto the elbows. Exhale. Should be feeling this through the side of the leg and also through the shoulders because they're supporting you. Last one. Get onto the hands, raise that leg up, back into three-legged dog. Take a breath. Next exhale, look between your hands, step your knee between your hands. Come into warrior two legs. So the front heel's in line with the instep of the back foot. Left hand comes onto the outside of the left foot. Left shoulder comes underneath or in that direction of the left knee. Now look at the hips. See if you can start to encourage the hips to come towards the ankles. So that bringing the glutes in is going to open through all those muscles that are holding the hips together. So that's what we're going for here. If it still feels okay, you can practice with reaching up with that right hand, and then over the head is the final challenge for a side body stretch. But only if it feels okay. Push down through the blade edge of that back right foot. Keep those glutes engaged. Push them under the body. Last breath here. Exhale, hands towards the floor. Frame the front foot. Step back. Option to lower the knees down. Chaturanga, high to low. Exhale. Inhale, up dog. Open the chest. And exhale, downward facing dog. Look between the hands. Bring the knees between the hands. We're coming into shoelace pose. If some of you are new to yoga, I'll try and break this down a little bit more for you guys. So we're going to bring the right knee over the top of the left leg. The goal is to have the knees pretty much on top of each other. That might not be realistic for some people, so we're going to play with what feels good for your body. What's common is when people start this pose, shoelace, they are sitting on their left glute and their right glute is up off the air and they say they can't feel anything. So I want you to bring your hand under your left glute, pull it to the side so both your glutes are flat on the floor. When you do that, you'll start to notice it gets harder because you're not cheating. That's a little cheat that happens. So once you've got both those glutes flat, you'll start to feel the hip opener. If there's any pain in the knee, that's something we shouldn't be feeling. So if that occurs, you're going to not have your feet so far towards the body. It makes it more intense. The more you bring your feet closer towards the body and the more both your glutes are on the floor, the harder this is going to be. So second challenge, if this feels okay, you're going to start walking your hands forward and lowering your head and just focusing on the breath. If you're not feeling anything in this, which I'd be surprised if you aren't, just check if you're sitting on your heel or if your glutes are in fact on the floor in between your feet. So I just noticed I was cheating myself there a little bit, so I'm going to fix that now. So this is really great for the outsides of the legs. If you just did my sculpt class, we were working on glute med and minimus. So these are getting a bit of a stretch here in the adductor muscles. It's okay if you're feeling it just to stay with a straight back and just close your eyes. You don't need to have any expectation from this pose of what it needs to be, and you don't have to push yourself into a place that feels like painful or uncomfortable. Gently bringing yourself back up to a neutral spine. And the left leg that's underneath, we're going to gently encourage it to straighten. So use your hands to help you. We've just been in a very deep stretch, so it's useful to help your hands. So again, we're stacking the knees. The top of your right foot's going towards the top of the floor. Now move the padding from underneath your glutes. Sometimes what can happen in a forward fold is when we're sitting on our glutes, we end up with a curved spine. So what I'd like you to do is move out the padding, because the tilt should come from the hips actually and not the back. The back should be relatively straight in your forward folds. So reach tall through the chest and then start to walk your hands forward, and you'll really start to feel that bite, because that right knee is making that left leg stay straight. So this you'll really feel through the calf and also the hamstring. You can work with folding forward a little more, letting the head be heavy, and letting go of any tension in the neck and the head or in the shoulders that you don't need. Even in the legs, wiggle the toes. Sometimes when we're fighting a stretch, we have all these other little muscles that want to hold on. Sometimes when we let them go, it just gets so much easier. Gently walking your hands back up. And we'll come into a reverse tabletop. So placing the feet flat onto the floor, hands behind you. And we're going to inhale, lift the hips up towards the roof, squeeze the glutes, maybe look towards the belly, or the head can fall back if that feels nice. Exhale, glutes to floor. And then we're going to swap other side. So this time the left leg comes over the top of the right. I'm going to stack the knees. The feet are coming out to the sides of the body, and you're sitting down between your feet. So you might need a little play to get used to how this feels. You can do that self-assist from before. So placing your hand underneath your right glute this time, lifting it up and making sure both your glutes are on the floor. When your hip bones are even and not twisted, that means you're in the right spot. And you should feel this now. If you're not feeling it and you feel like you've got more flexibility, you can start to walk your hands forward and relax your forehead down. Once you get down, if you are still feeling like you've got more, you can self-assist yourself again to make sure that your glutes are both even on the ground. It's going to intensify the stretch when you even it out rather than twisting. Being mindful of the knees, and if there is pain in the knees, really listening to that, because our body gives us pain for a reason. It's to listen that something's not right. Should be feeling like a stretch, but nothing sharp or excruciating that feels like it could be damaging. It should be a soft, stretchy feeling. Exhale, anything you don't need, anything holding on in this pose, extra tension in the jaw or between the eyebrows. Hands slowly walking back up to neutral spine. The foot that's underneath you, you're going to, with your hand, help that leg become straight. Stack the knees again. So I like to grab my right foot and just bring it over towards the side. The idea is to have the top of your foot on the floor. Mine is not there, but that's the sort of twist of the foot of how it should feel in that direction. If your knees aren't stacking, that's okay. If your hips are quite tight, just see what feels good for you. Your knee can be a little bit away from your other knee. Remove that padding from underneath your glutes so you're sitting even on your hips. Reach tall through the hands and see if you can encourage yourself to a forward fold, or hands on the floor is a little bit more gentle. See if you can wiggle through that right foot and release some of that tension that might be holding on in that leg. Chin can come towards chest. Grow long through the back of the neck. And this is a pose where
we can really have a lot of attachment because we want to be good at yoga. We want to be doing the most hardest version of every pose. We want to be awesome at yoga. And that's what's so great about yoga is you can't really be good at yoga because what's going on in your head is even more of yoga than what's going on in your body. So just focusing on the breath, being gentle on yourself, having compassion is as much yoga as any posture. Gently walking your hands up, placing the hands behind you. Option to do the pose from before, which was reverse tabletop, or option for reverse plank. We have the legs straight and we lift the hips up. The top of the foot's come onto the floor. Look towards the belly or head falls back. If this doesn't feel good, go back to bending the knees and bringing the hips towards the roof with reverse tabletop. Exhale, glutes to floor. And we'll slowly start to roll onto our backs to come into our back bends. So lower each spine along the floor, coming all the way down. Now, if you have a block, I recommend you bring it with you. Place it between your thighs, squeeze the block. We do this to activate quads, glutes, everything going on in the pelvic area, because what can happen is people go up into bridge and they don't have anything activated. So we're going to tickle the backs of our heels to make sure we're in the right spot. Squeeze the glute, squeeze the block, and then lift the hips up towards the roof. Tilt the tailbone down towards the heel. Something that is quite a nice assist is place your hand on your tailbone and tilt it towards your heels, and then place your other hand on the belly and raise it up. So what we're doing is lifting the glutes, activating. Option to interlace hands behind you and roll your shoulders open, coming into a chest opener as well as a back bend. Chin is just towards the chest and we don't move the head. Keep it nice and long to protect the neck. Keep squeezing the block. Check if you're activating. Check if you're checking out of the pose. One more breath. Slowly releasing the hands, lowering the upper back, middle back, and lower back to floor. Release the block and windscreen wipe the legs. Your second option is to do exactly the same thing if you're new to yoga or if you have any injuries. The last version is fantastic. If you want to try bridge leg raises, you'll be coming with me for this round. So same setup. We're going to tickle the backs of our heels. Inhale to prepare and exhale to lift the hips up. Interlace hands behind you. Roll the chest open. Right foot comes into the center of the body. Exhale, left knee into chest, and then straighten through the heel towards the roof. So from here, pushing that right heel into the floor, activating that right glute to lift the hips towards the roof. Hold for another breath. Exhale, knee in towards chest, and then lower the left foot. Stay up in your bridge. Walk your left foot to the center of the body. Exhale, the right knee into chest. Option, extend the leg towards the roof. Keep pushing through that left heel to keep that left glute activated to hold your body weight so you're not dumping into the back. Hold for another breath. Exhale, knee into chest, lower down. Get your feet back to neutral. Release the hands and slowly upper back, middle back, and lower back comes to the floor. Knees both lower down to the right-hand side. Exhale. Inhale to center, knees both lower to the left. Inhale to center. Last option is wheel. So if you're new to yoga or you know that your back has some complications, this is a full compression of the spine. So please don't do it unless you've done it before and you know that it's okay. Otherwise, do bridge with a block or the leg raises from before. So if you're coming into wheel, hands come over the head, elbows are reaching towards the roof, so they're not out to the side. Inhale to prepare and exhale to raise up. I prefer that you come the whole way up rather than coming onto the top of your head because I think that the neck is very sensitive and we must look after it. So once you're up, if you're pushing through the heels,
it's a more difficult pose because you're getting more extension through the hips. If you come up onto the tippy toes, it makes it a little easier. If you have your elbows bent, it's a little easier, and you can work on straightening the arms. Keep squeezing the glutes to come out of the pose, chin towards chest, bend your elbows and lower the back of your head and then your back of your shoulders on the floor, and then slowly bring upper back, middle back, and lower back to floor. Knees can TP in together to release the lower back, or you can windscreen wipe the legs. Coming back to center. Straightening the left leg and exhale, bringing the right knee in towards the body. This is going to push that back nice and straight along the floor. The harder that you pull up that knee towards that right armpit, the more of a stretch into the hips and also alignment in the back you're going to get. Exhale the right knee over the top of the body towards the left. Supine twist. This is a really great posture if you have any lower back pain, or if you sit at a desk all day, or pretty much if you're a human, this is a great stretch. Just come back to that objective of the non-attachment in the class today. Just see if there's been anything that has been popping up in your life recently that you have become attached to. Maybe it was even life before COVID. You're attached to thinking about how things were or how things should be. Gently coming back to center, straightening out that right leg, and exhale, that left knee comes into chest, interlace fingers around the shin and pull it up nice and tight towards that left armpit if that's available to you. On your next exhale, bring the knee over the top of the body towards the right hand side. Just gazing towards the roof, keep that neck nice and neutral. Close the eyes and focus on the breath or the spine, or that awareness of something that you're greed or hoarding in some way that may not be so obvious. Perfectionism is also a form of attachment. The belief that you are not good enough, that you have to have more money, more success, more friends, more of everything to be happy. This is a form of attachment. Gently coming back to center, taking a happy baby, so grabbing the outsides of the feet and drawing the knees in towards the armpits. I encourage you to push the lower back into the floor here. And the reason that is it's going to straighten through your spine and help with decompression of the lower back before we come into our final resting pose, our Shavasana. Now, the art of yoga is the art of inward reflection. And for me, the reason why yoga is so powerful is because it turns into a type of therapy where you can observe your own mental thoughts and patterns. And in our final meditation, I encourage you to think about the forms of attachment that you have in your life. And if you can let those go, would it make you happier? Releasing out of your happy baby and coming onto your back into your final resting pose, your Shavasana, your adult nap time. Letting everything be soft and becoming fully relaxed.
And you're welcome to stay here a little longer if you wish. But if you would like to finish the class with us, you can gently start to wiggle the fingers and toes. Maybe licking the lips and gently moving the head from side to side. When you're ready, reaching the hands up over the head and really stretching from tips of fingers to bottoms of toes. Exhale, bringing the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a big hug, maybe pulling the knees in tight and massaging the sacrum by making little circles with the knees. Rolling onto your favorite side, using your bottom arm as a pillow, keeping the eyes closed. When you're ready, helping yourself up to a comfortable seated position, with your hands resting on your thighs and chin drawn in towards the chest. We'll take a big breath in together and release. Bringing awareness to maybe that form of attachment that you have acknowledged that is in your life at the moment. Something that you're holding on to that is not bringing you happiness, making you feel judged or not good enough or weighed down. And see if you can make a mental choice to know when this pops up and to label it as attachment, and see if with that awareness you can let it slide. This is the art of meditation, of controlling the mind, something I am not a master of and always a student, but I hope that you found some of those learnings helpful for you today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the class, especially for the newbies. I hope you enjoyed it. There were some tough poses in there. It's a hard sequence, so I hope you enjoyed it and you made it through. If you have any questions for me, let me know, or if you're with Immortal Fitness, let Byron know and he can ask me. Was there no sound? Oh no, I think it's come back. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, good. I just saw a chat that there was no sound. I was like, no. But so I'm going to send my members a email about some of the cool stuff that's coming up. Byron from Immortal Fitness is going to be offering some classes, which is really cool. And thank you to all the Immortal Fitness team for coming along and joining us today, and hopefully see you again soon. Have a good evening. Thanks, Josephina. Bye.